Welcome back to the Infinite Creators Podcast. I want to thank you again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'm very grateful for that. And for this week's episode, I have a guy called Darren Long. Now, Darren is a cousin of mine, and we're great mates. And he's very motivated and driven. Him and his brother Justin, and a hard worker. And he's had his ups and downs, like all of us. But it's through his ups and downs that it's really taught him about business, and he's learned a lot more. And after losing everything a few years ago, he didn't let it define him. And it's through that journey that I'm looking forward to diving in to hear how that experience was for him, and how he used it to transform and motivate him even more, And so, yeah, I hope you enjoy this conversation. And if you're enjoying, please press subscribe and you'll get notifications for the latest release. Enjoy. Darren Long, how are you?
Not too bad, Ryan. And yourself?
Keeping well. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast.
No bother at all, Ryan. Happy to be here.
Good stuff. We go way back.
Yes.
It must be a long time now. We're cousins, and we've been running around with each other from a young age.
That's right. Big family.
Yeah. So, I've been watching you for the last few years now, since you came back from, I think you were in Boston, then you're in Australia, and right. You've had an interesting journey, and I think through that process, I suppose you've learned a lot about yourself and life in general.
Yeah, definitely a lot of changes since I left, anyways, for sure.
Yeah. So for me, I would like to start, where it all began for you, where I suppose you got inspired to, drive on to be who it is that you want to be, and your ambition and all that jazz. Like, where did it all start for you?
I would say maybe yourself, Ryan, the family that we come from. It's quite a big family. 13 aunties, 13 uncles on both sides of the family. Even on our side of the family, I think there's 7 brothers, 6 girls, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. So, as you know, all aunties and uncles would be very entrepreneurial, and I think that's where the motivation came from. Growing up, coming back from America, seeing the big houses, seeing the businesses, seeing the quarries, the hotels, everything being done around you, the big projects, the marina, etc., etc. And I think that's where I got a lot of motivation from to get going. Like, I just wanted to live up to these standards, everybody with their own business, everybody doing well, having a good car, having the life, going on holidays. Yeah. And that's just, I'd say that's where the inspiration came in. Even living in America before I came back, you're living in pretty decent streets, you're seeing the big houses, the big cars, the fishing trips, going skiing. And I just thought, I kind of get inspired by that. I know some people feel different about it, but whereas for me, I use that as inspiration. Whenever I see this stuff, I think that's what I want. I want to have that life, and how am I going to get that life? Yeah. So that's where it all began. Good man.
And I think that kind of started a bit young for you. Like, what age were you when you moved away?
To America or to...
Yeah, so you I know you lived in Boston, then here, but then you moved away at a young age, didn't you?
I moved away to Boston at 18, so I did.
Yes.
I think I left school about 15. I worked for a few years with my father. I was doing labour and I wanted to go away even younger. I wanted to go at 17. Yeah. My father told me, don't go to another country without a trade, he says, because you'll end up being stuck as a labourer, and you'll be doing labouring works when you're over there, and you'll never progress. They'll just see you as a labourer. Nobody will have time to teach you. So lucky enough, I listened to him and he taught me the trade. Then I wasn't that good, to be honest, but I was okay.
Why do you say that you weren't that good?
I only had maybe a couple of years under me. So when I left school, I was 15 to 16. So I'd say I'd done about a year labouring, and then I was only 2 years plastering. And I would say you would need maybe 3, 4, 5 years to become more and more skilled as a plaster. But I think the work ethic took me along, kind of helped me out, because leaving from Ireland to go to America, you come from a strong work ethic. So I think that's just putting in the work and showing up every day kind of made me better and better when I was in America. Yes. Which was a good help.
Good man. And how long did you do that for?
So in Boston or
Boston.
So in Boston, then I went from 2010 to 2012. So I done 2 years in Boston. So it was a good time. It was a working holiday.
I was there once.
It was a good time.
Good place. Conversation is probably not suitable for this podcast.
No, definitely not.
So I used 2 years in Boston.
2 years in Boston.
And then from there, where did that lead to?
From then, that led to thinking about Australia. I think the build-up to Australia just came very quick. So we were there almost 2 years, and our cousin Daniel had been speaking to people in Australia, a few people, and they were getting big money that we probably couldn't even believe was possible to be getting. So we started doing investigations to hear about this money, and more people was confirming, yes, this is the kind of money that's being made. So we've heard about this. Then in the meantime, we ended up booking a holiday to Vegas. So me, Brian, Daniel, and Frank actually went over to Vegas.
And they're your
cousins.
Our cousins,
and your
yeah.
cousin,
Yeah.
So we had 4 days drinking day and night, which was mental. I don't know if any of us was over the age of 21, but we done our best anyways. We had a good time. And then I came back from that holiday and I thought, oh my God, there's definitely more to life than just being around and like just this working and plastering every day and stuff. So then I says, I think now I want to change the scenery.
So when you say more to life, like, could you elaborate? Like,
yeah, well, when we were in Vegas, there was like people partying and having a good time, and I spoke to them. They were from different parts of the world. They were doing really well with their businesses. You know, I spoke to a couple of people actually from Australia, and they were telling me how good it was in Australia. And then there was people then that was telling me that they had a few days off. They were going to go back, relax, doing all these holidays. And I says to myself, living as a plaster and just working for somebody, I'm not going to be able to live that life that I want. So I says, I think I'm going to venture somewhere else and just see what else is out there for me for the time being.
Yeah. And is that what led you to Australia?
That's what led me to Australia. And I also, because I'm an American citizen, I always had it in my head, look, if it doesn't work out, I just go back. There's no big deal. I'm only 20 years old. You know, I just want to go around and see the world now while I'm young, and I didn't have any commitments at the time.
That's good. You know, I think a lot of the time there's a lot of young people out there who are scared of like moving away or taking that risk, you know, and it's never, I always think that it's more risky not to go, because you can always fall back. Like, what is the worst that can happen?
Well,
you can always come back home.
Yeah, exactly, right. Because if you had X amount of money in your bank account, how much are you going to really lose by going away working and not working out?
Yes.
Maybe $5,000, I don't know, maximum. Like, that's not going to change your life.
And home is always there.
Home is always there. You can come back then if it doesn't work out. At least you've got a memory for it.
Yeah. And then that led to Oz. So
yeah, that
you headed down. How old were you then?
20. I went to Australia then. We actually stopped. We stopped at Thailand on the way out because we heard that the money was so good in Australia. I says, right, let's stop in Thailand now and let's blow whatever money we have. let's blow whatever money we have first, because we can go then and we'll pick up and we'll make $4 or $5 a week then in the first week and it'll be all good. So we decided to blow all the money in Thailand, and then we made our way to Australia broke.
Very good. Which part of Oz?
We went to Perth. Yeah, we landed into Perth. It wasn't easy.
So you were only 20 at the time?
Yeah.
So you'd been in Ireland, you'd been in Boston, then you'd been in Oz. So there was a lot at a young age too, you know?
It was. At the time, I felt like such a big part of my life was in Boston. But now looking back, the 2 years I spent in Boston kind of seems longer than the 7 years I've been in England at now, because I'm more settled and older. I think when you're young, it's new experiences hit you harder. You know.
Very good. And with Oz, what did you settle into? Like, what kind of work, or what was it like get starting again?
It wasn't good. So we landed to Australia first off, and we says, we need to find somewhere to stay. So we looked around. We knew we would get maybe motels or something, you know. And at that time, 2012, everybody was landing to Australia. Maybe similar to like it is now, I'm not sure. But there was a lot of people going to Australia at the time. Everybody was hearing about the money, so they were all going. When we arrived, there was maybe 17 hostels in Perth. And the only one hostel that you could get a room in was called the Grand Central. And it was the roughest hostel you'll ever see in your life. They wouldn't even show you the rooms. So you went in to the front desk. And when you go into the front desk, there's a big like door, double doors, and they close that door. As soon as you go in, there's somebody there to close it and lock it, so nobody's allowed in or out to see it. That's how bad this place is.
And so you had to book it without seeing it?
We had to book it without seeing it. So we says we would take a week because we had nowhere else to stay. And there was the YHA, I think it was called, across the road, and it was a good hostel. So there's a waiting list for 2 weeks to get into there. So we put our name on the waiting list for the time being. And then we went back to the Grand Central, up the stairs, and we were in a room that was, I think there was 6 bunk beds in the room, 6 bunk beds. It was co-ed, so there was men and women in the room. The curtains was ripped off. It was a fucking mess. Even there was one shower for, I think, 12 people, and the shower was only about 4 foot high, so it just trickled down your back. Wasn't good.
It's short for you.
Oh, Jesus, it was not good at all. Even the next morning we got up, we says we'll get up good and early and we'll go look for work, me, James, William, Brian, we says we'll get up early. Next thing we heard all this roaring outside the hostel about 5 o'clock in the morning. There was an Aboriginal lad outside fighting with some woman, stealing her handbag. She punched him. He stood back, fly kicked her in the head, knocked the handbag out of her hand, grabbed the handbag, run like fucking. I says, is this the place where kind of place we're over to live now?
Jesus. That was some experience to start off with us.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it wasn't good. We actually, when we went looking for work then, so what we decided was we would go down the road and we would sign up to the agencies, the work agencies. We says we'll sign up there, and as soon as we got there, I think it was about 6:30 in the morning, there was a queue maybe 200 metres down. That's how people was queued up from that time of the morning, and the place didn't open till 8 o'clock. That's how much people was looking for work. There was no work about at all. Like,
so you went at a time that it doesn't sound like that's Australia now. From what I understand, people seem to go to Australia these days and get a job straight away. So it was slightly different.
It was definitely different, and because, like, I suppose what they work on in Australia is CVs, so it's very detailed CVs, and we weren't used to that. We were used to, I'll ring you up, I'll come out and do a day's work and you'll see what I'm like. Do you know what I mean?
Like the Irish way?
Yeah, try me out for a day and you'll know then. Like, and that's just not what they want to see or know about. Like, so I think I did, one of the first jobs I got, I think may have been, there was 2 jobs. So I got a job with a bricklayer, I think, and it was tough. So he took me out working for him, and I think it was like $100 a day. It was rubbish money anyways. I went out labouring to a brickie because I couldn't get plastering work. And then the people was really, really ignorant at the time. They were just treating the Irish bad at that time. So for instance, what would happen was we'd be moving blocks around, and I'd be carrying the blocks as fast as I could, and there'd be maybe 13 bricklayers and 4 labourers. So the way that the trolley's made is to lift the bricks. You lift them, pull them back in the trolley and move them over. So what the brickies would do, the Australian brickies at the time, was they would cut the straps from the bricks, and then they would tell you to move the blocks over there by hand, just to get it out of you, to try to break you. Like,
yes.
That's what they would try to do. So I think I'd done about a week, and then I think a cousin of mine, Steve Gillespie, called me and says, look, he got a plastering job. He just came over to Perth from the East Coast. He says, I got a job up in Lancel, and he says, let's go up and do some plastering up there, and you'll get better money. And James William might have been out working for somebody that wasn't great either. So the 3 of us decided we'll go to Lancel, and we took a wee car up with us. I can't remember who drove, but we made our way up to Lancel then, which was about an hour and a half away then. So it was.
And that was how many weeks in?
That was, I have to say that could be about 3 weeks in, potentially 4.
How was that at the time? Did you feel stable, or was it plain
sailing? I was worried. I was really worried.
What were you worried about?
No money, and the last thing, I'm not a person that asks for anything. Like, I would nearly rather die than phone home to ask for money. That's the type of me. But I got loans of money off Brian at the time and stuff, and he helped me out. And I just thought, oh Jesus, I don't want to be the person.
So you really did go to Oz broke?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, no money. I ran out of money. And we were silly too. Like, Brian would give me money, and then we would try go out and stuff with that money, which was really silly. Do you know what I mean? But we just had to get out and about. We were young and stuff, and it was definitely a struggle. And like I say, we went to Lancel and started that job, and that was supposed to be a good job. But then we were working for the plastering contractor who was there, me, Steve, and James William, and I was stressed. I was like, we need money, but there was a house to stay in at least, so it wasn't too bad. So we had a bit of a house down the road, and I was stressed, and I says to Steve, this place is a shithole. I need to get the fuck out of here. I need paid or something. And Steve was laughing at the time. He says, you're gonna look back on this day maybe in 5 or 10 years, and you're gonna piss yourself laughing. And I says, I'll not be fucking laughing. I says, but now it is funny.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Now it is funny. It was a good time, and then we worked for about a week, and the plan was to come back the next week, and you would work another week, and then you would get paid. And when we came back the second week, the plastering contractor, no sign of him. So we just decided, we'll keep working anyways, and he'll show up a couple of days later. Still no sign of him. So then towards the end of the week, we says, what is going on here now? This is a bit strange. So we kind of stopped working. The boy had just gone off the radar. Lucky enough, though, whenever we went to Lancel, we had to stop by the plaster contractor. We'd met him somewhere at his house or near his house. So we were able to find out where he lived somehow. So we travelled down the road and we chased him for the money for a long time. Well, not a long time, for about a week, but we really had to come to the stage of threatening him to get the money. Like, that's what it came to. And then eventually we did get paid, but that was again out of work again.
Yeah. So you were still no further on.
Still no further forward. Broke again.
Jesus. And how did you follow through then? What came next?
I think I was over around the boys' house. There was different boys over there at the time. I think it was Jamie McMinimum, George Bob, a few of them boys. And I think a job, James McCluskey and all them boys, I think James may have given me the heads up or something. There was a job for MFP and he was looking for concrete finishers, which I was not. And I was a plaster, and I thought, if you can rub it through, we'll figure something out. Like, so I called the boy up and I asked him, could I have the job? And he's asked me, did I have much concrete experience? I told him I had a bit of concrete experience, and he gave me the job anyways. So he did.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Fair play. I didn't know that, obviously, but them kind of experience, though, they're the ones that really make you.
Yeah. No, they do. They definitely. Once you get something that goes well, that's when you appreciate it. When you go through them harder times, even getting a house was a struggle. I think James McCluskey again. I think he actually helped us get a house. He had worked with somebody, put us onto him. Only for that, you couldn't get a house. So we were lucky enough. We all got in. Then me, Brian, and James William got the house then and moved up, and we were slowly settling in then.
So that's good. Then you got smooth sailing then.
Yeah, smooth sailing. But it wasn't until a year in, until I got into the mines, before I started to make a bit of money. So even for like the whole time I was there, for the 11 months, I was probably week to week. That's what I was at. I was doing my work, but I was going out and I was partying. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I was partying.
What does partying look like to you?
Just going out on a Friday evening, going down to the bars, having a few drinks. Nightclubs, never miss work. I would never ever, I don't think, maybe about 3 times in my life miss work. I wouldn't miss it. I would sometimes be home at 2, 3 in the morning and be away at 5.
Yes.
I had to go to work. Like, I just wouldn't miss a day. I think I missed on my 21st birthday and the boss went mental, so I just didn't miss days.
That's good, because it's important to prioritize what's actually feeding us too. Because I think sometimes we can get caught up in the partying lifestyle and then the roll through the Mondays and the Tuesdays, and a lot of people can are very well known for them kind of days where they miss work. But with that experience, then that seemed to, I suppose, give you a footing in the sense that sending you right down the path of where you are today. So coming through that, then where did that lead to through Australia, coming to London?
So I'll fast forward through it a bit. So anyways, I got into the mines 11 months later with the boy, because a boy, Richie Flood, was from Kildare, and I told him, I need into the mines. Everybody's in the mines but me. I need in. I need this. And he says, right, I'll get you in, because he was with the boss. He was like the main person for the company. He got me into the mines. Within 1 month, I think I made 10,000, and after 1 month, I had that in my bank account coming down, and that was something money I've never seen before. Yeah. And then it was just month after month, I got that, and then I think after you could only work with the company for so long, and then I had left, and I had gone working for, I think it was John Hurl for a while, and then I went with John Stray, and I got sponsored with him. And then I done a bit of work for myself over there, and then I had a bit of money saved at the time. And Justin had gone to England at the time.
Justin is your
my brother. Yeah, Justin had gone to England at the time, and my wife's grandmother was sick, and she was talking about maybe going home for a little bit of time to spend some time with her grandmother, and her own father wasn't well and stuff. And Justin was talking about the good business opportunity over there with diggers and getting any groundworks and stuff. So I just kind of helped him with some of the investment and stuff, and I said, let's see how it goes. And I kind of monitored it, for 3 months. And it seemed to be going pretty good. And I said, you know what, maybe we'll make the move. If I'm working for myself over in England, I won't mind. I didn't want to go working for somebody else, though.
So why did you not want to work for someone else?
Just, a couple of things about me is I do like freedom. Like I like to work my own hours, kind of. I'll get up early and I'll work. But if I need to go somewhere in the middle of the day, I just like to be able to go. Or if I need to take a phone call, I like to take the phone call. Or if I need to eat, I want to eat. These are the kind of things I got pulled on. Eating on site, you know what I mean? Taking 2 minutes, being 1 minute late. This silly nonsense that I just thought, you know what, I need to be my own boss. I just can't be dealing with people, you know. At that stage, it was more about the freedom, and then the money was kind of after that for me.
So it sounds like you just had enough of people telling you what to do, you know, or small things like that. Right, so that led to the construction company, and you went into business then with your brother Justin.
Yes.
And how long were you back, or sorry, when did you come back then to London?
I think I went back to London, so 2012, 16. So I done 4 years in Australia. So 2016, I went to London then. So we made the move over to London. And I kind of knew when I was in London, I says, this is not the place for me.
Why?
Just the feeling that I had inside me in Australia was way different to England.
What kind of, can you describe
when you're driving
feelings?
when you're driving down like the coast in Australia, you're driving down the beaches, people's walking about, the sun's out. For me, it's the sun is a massive factor keeping people happy. Like everybody's just easy going, and you just finish your work in decent time. And then I went to, it's the weather for me, went to London then, and it was busy, like really busy. Traffic was everywhere, every house was built on top of each other, and I just thought, oh Jesus, this is not going to be good. Like, but this is what I was telling my, like, inside gut was feeling, but I was telling myself what it'll be. At the same time, I was talking to myself saying, no, it'll be fine, everything will work itself out. And I think the first job I had was down in Morden, and it was, you'd drive about an hour in the morning, it would take you about 2.5 hours coming home in the evening, and then you would get back then to like a flat, which was great to get the flat and all the rest, but it was just in a built up area, there was a lot of people around, and it was just wasn't easy, to be honest, but at least we were working for ourselves. That was one plus. And I said to myself, look, I'll push through this, I'll work hard, and I'll get myself where I need to be, you know what I mean? I'll push through this and get a house somewhere else, and this is, you have to go through these times. I've been through them before. I'm starting in a new country, so I knew that it can be rough at the start, but it'll get better.
Yes. So it was a big transition then?
Yeah, big transition. Yeah, it definitely was. Now, I was working there with the JD group, that's what we called it, me and my brother. So it was both of our businesses, and we just started small groundworks projects, and Justin was kind of like the front, I would say, of that business. He was dealing that, he was in England longer than me, and I was out on site and stuff, and then we were getting QSs. We were slowly growing. The business every year was slowly, I think it was growing actually quite quick. That may have been one of the issues that happened with that business, to tell you the truth.
So that then, it didn't go smooth sailing.
No, it didn't go smooth sailing. So
what happened?
So the business went, I think the first year, if you want to like talk about some details. So I think first year we would do projects ourselves. So me, Justin, maybe one or two other people. Those projects is well monitored. You're there, you're monitoring, you're on site, you know what's being done, you can get the work done. Like, we know how much profit we made. When you're a small business, it's easy to know how much profit you made. As you grow, you start taking site managers on, project managers, assistant site managers, quantity surveyors, junior quantity surveyors, people watching purchase ledger, all this sort of stuff then that we've never known anything about. We're young and silly. We don't want to ask for help. We know better. I don't want to listen to him. I want to do my own thing, and I wouldn't advise anybody to do that. I would just definitely ask for help or talk to somebody who's done what you want to do, and just ask them for guidance, because I was very stupid and thought that we knew it all and we could do it all and nothing could go wrong. That's what we thought. Okay.
I can understand what you're saying, because when there's a part of us that wants to break out, and I think we kind of need to do that and learn that for ourselves. It's like, you know, I can do this on my own, and to give yourself that independence, you know, so it's just part of the journey.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and you kind of have to, from my experience, you have to do that to understand that, you know. But then what happened?
So then we carried on. Then year 2, I think first year we may have went 300, then we went to 1 million, and then the third year we went to 3 million. That's the year that we went bankrupt. And so it was, so in that year, we would have had different systems, different ideas, different people in the office, you know, like, it's not a mixture of, it's a mixture of a few mistakes all around the table, you know. We had different ideas, we didn't have the right systems. So whenever you're in business to a certain level or certain revenue, systems work. Whenever you get to the next level, different systems needs to come in place for you to break through. We tried to run that business with the same systems in year 1 as in year 3, and we didn't account for maybe retention, which is 5% of a project value. So if you're doing if you're doing 100,000, it's 5,000. But if you're doing maybe 1 million, 50,000, if you're doing a few of those projects, that can eat into your profit. So if you're working off a 20% profit margin, if you're lucky in construction, then maybe 5% of that, you're being held at. And then also because you're young and naive, you're doing a project for a certain company, and then they say there's all these changes to be done after you've already done the works, but we'll sign it off on day works. We thought, oh yes, that's fine, let's get everything signed off on day works and we'll get paid, and this is the price, and the site manager signs it off. And then come the end, when it comes time to get paid, we says, well, here's all the timesheets signed off, and they says he no longer works for us, he has no authority to sign those papers off. So you're talking 30,000 there. And then we says, well, you knew what was going on, we knew all the works. They says, we didn't know anything. You need to go through the right processes to get paid, you need to go through the quantity surveyor. So they let us on, they let us do the work basically, so that they didn't have to pay us. And they're a well-known company for not paying, okay. And we didn't do our due diligence, on that company. And then on the other hand, we were working for a mob boss that we didn't know about. Yeah, so we ended up trying to pull off his job, and he landed to the office, and we done some research into him, and he was actually, his brother had killed, I think, like 10 people. No, his wife's brother had killed 10 people, so he did, and was locked up and stuff. And he's the biggest money launderer in the UK, or in London. So he was taking all the money from abroad, siphoning it in. So we had to go back and finish that job, or else he was basically going to tell us he was going to kill us. So we had a lot of bad stuff happening at the time,
So you got threatened with murder then?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, threatened with murder. And then we did go back.
So was that, like, you had to finish the job?
It was his house.
But you still going to get paid for it?
Well, what he says to us was, come back and finish the job. And he says, we'll finish it on the same price. He was basically saying that he paid us too much money and we pulled off the job. And I says, that's not possible, because we only get paid for values of works, because I knew this from the guy before who fucked us over. So we already had learned this, but we were still on shaky ground from that. And then this boy then was basically saying that he had overpaid us, and then he wanted us to go back, and he didn't want to agree to any extras again. What had happened to us before, it was his own house, and we were nervous. We were for sure nervous, and even the people that was working for us didn't want to be there. They were very nervous. So it was rough at the time.
Yeah. But then you came to an agreement and...
Came to agreement, kind of done the works, and then I think the last 20,000, he says he wasn't paying us. And then in the meantime, I had gone to another company and asked them to pay us. And they basically says that they were struggling with money but would pay us. And at this stage, it was too late. I was throwing a Hail Mary. I was asking other people for payments of advance. We were already maybe 300,000 in bother at this stage. And then everything just came crumbling down. And then I remember...
No, sorry, continue.
I just remember my brother saying, I knew it was bad. I didn't realize how bad it was. And then my brother told me to come in and look at some figures, and I knew he was shaking. And then I just couldn't believe it. He says, this is what we're owed, and this is what we're going to get paid. And I says, we're owed a lot more than that. And he says, these people aren't paying, and this is this. And this is what we owe to these people. And it was way more. And I says, this is not good. And he says, we have no choice here. We're at the stage now where we just have to... This company's going bankrupt, and at that stage then it was just a massive shock to me to think this business has gone under, my first business. Do you know what I mean? I worked so hard on it, and not only that, but lost all my savings from Australia, which was even harder.
So you had this, I suppose it was part of your dream that you have your own business, and you started that, things were going good, and then things went down.
Yeah.
What was that moment like for you? Can you walk me through what you were feeling? What was life like?
I didn't believe, when you're just in disbelief. I was in disbelief for a while. I just thought, no, it's fine, it's going to work. I just thought in my head, it'll be fine, it'll work itself out. And then slowly everything was disappearing, there was jobs were shutting down, everything was going away. And then I just got into real deep depression. So I did, and I actually didn't know what I was going to do. I was like, am I going to have to go back working for somebody now? What am I going to do? I knew it wasn't the end of the world, but it was bad. It was pretty annoying anyways. And I just didn't, I don't know. It's hard to describe, to be honest.
Yeah. And when you say deep depression, like what was that? Like,
Just didn't want to talk to anybody. The last thing I wanted to see was anybody I knew. Then to even talk about it, I definitely didn't want to talk about it. That was the last thing I wanted to do. I felt like I just wanted to go away to maybe another island on my own and just have some time there on my own, maybe for 6 months, and then come back maybe then if things settled down. I felt like everybody was against me. I don't know why. I just felt like everybody was against me for some reason.
Yeah. I can only imagine what that's like. I haven't been there, but just sitting here talking to you, I'm kind of feeling a bit of that energy from you, and it sounds like a very dark place, It
was. We were lucky, like we had good people around us, parents, even my wife Brona and stuff. Like she was very good. Like at the time, I was just like, I'm a failure. I'm with this woman. I'm a failure. Do you know what I mean? And just didn't feel like this is, now she's with me. I promised all this stuff. I talk a big talk. I want this. We're going to have this. We're going to have this. Now we're going to have nothing. And she was good. She sat by me and she told me, look, it'll be fine. You can do it. She says, I know your work ethic. You'll be fine. There's always a way. And I think at that time, another even part of that story was she introduced me to the gratitude and the secret maybe about 6 months before the business failed, which is a bit strange. So at that time, I knew nothing about this. I said, this load of horse rubbish, but anyways, I'll do it anyways. She convinced me to do it. So I was thankful for this, thankful for that, and thankful that my business I'm getting paid, trying to do all this manifesting.
This was before the business closed down?
Yeah, 6 months before. Yeah. So the more I manifested about everything and thankful for what I had and everything about the business and getting paid and the business was going to grow, the faster it crumbled down and it just really tore apart. And I says, fuck this secret. I'm going to fuck this book out the window. And I really did. I just says, this is a load of rubbish. This is the worst. And then she says to me, actually, maybe this is for a reason, maybe this is for a reason. And I just says, fuck, I don't really want to answer her. But anyways, then I started to think, maybe I'll get back into it. And I did get back into it then. And I says, right, now I'm going to start to try to think positive again and just give this thing another go. You know what I mean? And I kept doing that and I kept my work ethic in mind. And I just says, what am I going to do now with all these people that we're working for us and stuff? And I just thought, what about, these are good people with us 4 years. And I says, what about opening an agency? What if I could turn this bad into something good? And these are people with us 3-4 years that are never missed a day. I said, what if I could hire these people out?
Yeah. So before you got to that point, was there a period in time then where, you stopped with the previous company and you had a break, or did you go straight into it?
No, I did. I had a bit of a break. I had I didn't have a long of a break, to be honest.
How did you recoup yourself though? How did you pull yourself out of this?
Mainly, I'd say my wife and stuff, and all the support that we had around us, the family and stuff. I would say, we just we come from, ourselves. Our family is kind of like hardworking families, when we do plow on and stuff, and I just says to myself, I don't want to be that person as well. It's going to let this bury me for so long. Do you know what I mean? When I was in depression, I was thinking about stuff as well. I was bouncing in and out of it, so there would be days where I didn't want to do anything, and other days I was thinking, what can I do? My mind was going into overdrive, thinking, what can I do now? What can I do? I was really trying to think, where's their market? What does people need? And it was in front of me,
Very good.
Yeah.
So you didn't let it hold you down for too long?
No, not too long. To be honest, Ryan, I can't remember. That was a period in my mind. It could have been a month. I don't even remember, right? But I just can't put a timeline on it exactly. It was a blur for me, and I just tried to push those things way down and out of the way.
Well, it seems to have worked in that time for you anyway. You managed to walk through that challenge and keep strong and keep going.
Yeah,
and it led to other ventures.
Yeah, led to other ventures. It was, I think, even around the same time before JD closed, another similar occurrence happened. Actually, I forgot about that. So it was about 6 months before that. We were chatting to somebody about property and stuff, and somebody well-to-do with the property, and we decided then we would maybe get into that and try it, because we thought we were going to be really successful at JD and we get into property and do this. So then we started having conversations about property, and we decided we would get trained and stuff, and we put a wee bit of money into that. but we had that kind of like paid for. You had to pay for that up front, so we had that paid for, and then like JD and all went down. So that was something that was kind of going on as well, and we were getting guidance through him as well, which was helpful for us at the time.
So when you say guidance, like was that like a mentor, or so did you invest in a mentor?
Yeah, it was like a mentor, trainer kind of / person. He wasn't, he was more property. He was basically taught you about property. Yeah.
How was that?
It was a good experience. So it was like he would teach us what to be doing, give us tasks for the month, what you need to do, and next month if you went back and you didn't do those tasks, he would just end the call. I think we'd done it once or twice, and he just says, I'm not wasting my time. He says, and we says, we paid for it. He says, I don't care. He says, I'm not wasting my time with this. He says, if you're not going to do what you're told, he says, what's the point? And he was right. So that got us on our feet.
Very good. Yeah. So they're very, very good mentors then, is what?
Good mentors, yeah. Yeah, good mentors. So he was.
What would you say about like mentoring? Because sometimes, as you said, when you were younger, like I don't need any guidance. I don't need any help, now having both sides, what would you say about it?
I think mentoring is very important, to be honest. Like if I was a young person and maybe didn't have the money and I was thinking about getting into business, I would probably try to find a friend or somebody you look up to maybe to get you going. At least say to him, look, I'm trying to get into my business. Do you mind helping me out? Because most people, I think successful people would like to help somebody out, feel good about themselves for doing that. Maybe as you get older, then you could seek a bit more professional, you know what I mean? People that's a bit higher standard, and you can kind of pay a bit for it then after that. But I definitely think it's important to have somebody, or always be talking to somebody who's well-to-do, you know what I mean? Surround yourself, get in those groups of people. Like, it's definitely what they say, the people that you're involved with is the people that you're going to be, isn't it?
Yeah. They say it's like if you're the average of the 5 people or 6 people that you hang around with. I'm not sure exactly, but it makes sense.
Yeah,
the kind of people you engage with, that's the kind of life that you're living, Yeah. But mentoring, I think, is really important. And if I could go back to my younger self, it would be like, make sure you have a mentor all the time, because you don't know everything.
Yes.
But when we're young, we think we know everything.
I know.
And
we don't want to listen.
No, definitely not. No, but so like what I see with you, Darren, is like, you and your brother Justin, and I know Justin had a conversation on another podcast, with Adrian McMyler, and I suppose I just thought it'd be interesting to have you on. So like I see that you have been on this journey where you have been through such a hard challenge and lost everything, but you didn't let that define you, where a lot of, I feel like sometimes people, and it's not necessarily in business, we just let one decision or one occasion define us, and like you didn't let that define you.
No, I didn't. I just thought to myself, look, I'm not that old either. I think it was an age thing maybe. It definitely helped. I says, I still have it in me. I'm young, I'm eager, do you know what I mean? And I know it can be done again, do you know what I mean? Because I know, like, the way I kind of look back at it was, what did JD do in 3 years? And I says, what can I do in another 3 years now? I've learned so much, do you know what I mean?
And what was it that JD taught you?
JD taught me a couple different things. One thing is always being, no matter how big your business is, I think be involved with your money, kind of hands-on, know where the money's being paid from, why it's being paid. Don't assume that everybody will do things correctly. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes we hire somebody that's very well educated and we say, oh, well, he's the right man for the job. But when it's your own money, you're going to know where that money's going. Do you know what I mean? That's one thing it taught me. Another thing it taught me is have good systems in place. So like if you're willing to grow, spend a bit of time, put those systems in place, then grow. Whenever you're looking to hit that next level, get systems in place again. Chat to somebody who's in that place as well. And what does he do different? You know what I mean? And get a bit of conversation. Might not be the exact same business, but they have the same, they'll know what they're talking about, and just get advice from people. And I think another thing as well is if you're looking to grow, you don't have to be so hands-on yourself. Get people to do the work as well and sit in the background and tell what needs done.
Yeah, like delegation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think delegation is a skill that needs to be developed.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of the time we can get so caught up in trying to control or be in control of everything, but it's like letting go and trusting.
Yeah, yeah, exactly right.
How has that helped you?
Yeah, it helped me massively. do you know how one of my biggest ones that actually, it's always bad things that happen to make good things. So I think I was on a trip to Ibiza there, was it last year, 2 years ago maybe? This is when I really learned this trade. I went away and I lost my phone and I was drinking for about 3 days. And I swear to God, I came back and I thought the business was gone. That's how many phone calls, problems, everything had happened. We would lose people off jobs, everything. And I just says to myself, what the fuck? I said, do I have to be this involved? Am I micromanaging this business so much that I have to be so involved here? Like, so what I done was I just took everybody in the room the next day and I said, you're dealing with this person, you're dealing with that person, you're dealing with this person, and everything go through you. And if they want to know anything, you come to me. You know what I mean? And that was just the way I done it, and it was a game changer. So there's always, you have to look at the good and anything bad.
Yeah. I know, and I always say, like, we use good and bad to describe situations, but in reality, the bad things can tend to be the good things. It's because they're the ones that teach us the most. But it's like sometimes I think it's like we can get caught up in that moment and just see no way out. But it's like, I think it's so important to appreciate the bad moment or that tough moment, knowing that there's going to be a really good lesson. And
exactly.
I think you have that mindset, and if we do all apply that mindset, then we can grow a lot faster.
Oh, definitely. And like another thing as well, I think talking to people, just definitely talk to a lot of people.
Like, in what sense?
I was very shy when I was young. I think that's what held me back for so long. I was shy. I would sit there, people would progress in their jobs, and I was thinking, I'm better than them. Why are they getting these jobs? It was because they were asking for it, and because they were vocal about what they wanted. So what I learned then was to be vocal. Even like in recruitment, I was shy, and I had this thing in my head, I'm going to call this person and he's going to tell me to fuck off, and then I'm not going to get the job. So sure as God, I called the boy and he would say, fuck off, don't call me again. And my plan was, I'm going to kill him next time I see him. And this went through for the first few months, and then I quickly the mentor had told me, no, you need to call that boy 5 times. He has no right to say yes to you until you speak to him 5 times, he says. And then I slowly started to learn then. And then I would call him thinking, he's going to say yes. And then the phone calls got better and better and better,
So it sounds like consistency and persistence.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely. And just being friendly with people, even if they're in a bad mood. It could be just having a bad day. You just need to learn to get off the phone, move on to the next boy and call him back. On a Friday maybe, after a week's work.
So how did you progress in with, you started a recruitment agency? So
me and Justin,
you have the 2 years, and how did that get going then? Where did it all start, and like how fast did you really get yourself back on your feet where you felt in a good place?
It wasn't overly fast, to be honest. I think it's kind of like, describe it as pushing a lorry. It takes a lot of momentum and to get that thing going, but when it gets going, it just seems to go faster and easier and easier. Because I know at the start we were in a very, very small office. You could maybe fit 2 people in it. I think there may have been just 2 of us in the office at the time. And we were just on the phone. You couldn't hear each other speaking. And then we would, a week later, got a job. Now I can't fill the job. Back to square one, lost that job. Now back to call another person for another week, got another job. Right, we got 1 person out of the 5. Failure again, the boy's pissed off, but we'll keep trying. The thing you learn is be persistent. Just keep going, keep trying, you know what I mean? And then it took time, it definitely took time, and then I think we came to a stage where we started the Grant Cardone thing. I think we were middling at that stage, and that kind of took us to another level. So that was another form of mentorship, that was sales training, and that was kind of business, a bit of mixture. That was definitely good for learning how to get jobs, great sales techniques, stuff like that. So you definitely need to learn from skilled people.
And what is it that Grant Cardone does?
Sales training.
Sales training.
A bit of business training, but mainly sales training.
Very good. So what did that enable you to do then?
Just get lots of clients, get lots of clients, and just learning how to speak to people, and how to start up the phone conversation, It's just certain ways you would call. I used to call up a company and just say, "You looking for workers?" And he'd say, "No, hang up phone." And then you learn different techniques,
So I think sometimes we can we can have brick walls, you know. It's just like we
Yeah.
don't know how to get past this wall. And as you say, like having someone else who is maybe 100 steps ahead or two
Yeah.
steps, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just having that person to
Yeah.
see a way that sometimes we don't see.
Exactly right.
know?
Yeah, keep and networking, you know, all those things, and reading books, you know, all that sort of stuff all helps. You know, just I didn't read until maybe the last 3 years, but I started educating myself. Now, you know, education doesn't stop when you finish school. I think it probably should only begin, especially if you're going to get into business. Read as much as you can. I think you'll learn a lot from books as well. You can actually pluck a lot of information from books, you know, that mentors would give you as well, that sort of way. Like,
So how would you describe yourself now versus in JD? You know, what how would you
definitely a
describe
lot less stressed. My stress levels with JD was extremely high because we could be owed maybe 100, 150,000 at points, and I could have a payment date during the Friday, and me knowing I have to pay out maybe 30 to 40,000 pound wages on that Friday. So I was waiting for this money to come in so I could pay these workers. So my stress levels was through the roof. You couldn't say anything to me. Whereas now I have a business where I know I have money in the account and I know how to keep money in the account before wages is paid out. And just I feel when you have that safety barrier and you're more confident, you know, because you've learned so many mistakes, that now you're just more confident in business. And when you're more confident in business, it's much easier. You're not stressed. And be good to your workers as well. I think just treat them with respect, because there would be like points with JD we would like have to just go mental at workers, and it really wasn't their fault. We were just that stressed, but you'll not get much out of workers when you go on like that.
Yeah, no, it is important to treat your workers with respect, because how you treat them is exactly how they'll treat you back, you know.
Exactly right.
Very good. So with the recruitment company now, tell me about. I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, so just a recruitment company, construction based. So it's throughout the whole UK. We just pick up clients anywhere throughout the UK.
How do you pick them up?
Well, we just pick them up mainly sales calls. So we would basically be doing sales calls. So we would you can get lists of construction companies from the internet. So we'll get through the list of construction companies. We'll call them up. We'll speak to them. That would be like one method. Another method then will be to references. So you do a good job with somebody and talk to him and just say, can you help me? I'll give you a bit of incentive if you can reference. And then once you build your reputation, it's always easier to call somebody up and say, we're working with such and such, and you know he knows him, you know, and then this is how you started, and then you just go this way. You know yourself, if you meet one person, he knows 3 people, you deal with them 3 people, they know 3 people. This is kind of how you start branching out, really. Like, that's the main way to go. And just being friendly and taking notes, important notes on on a software or something, you know, so you can keep track of these notes, so what you're talking about and where to pick up on the next time and when to call them back and stuff like that.
And then with the likes of the sales training and sales calling and networking throughout the UK, like, do you do that all yourself or other people?
I think with that business, I'm still learning, still growing, but at the point we're at, I think I just need to be more focused on taking in new customers, dealing with new customers. Once I build up the relationship, I kind of pass it to relationship managers. But I think we've had like a lot of salespeople. We still do have a couple of salespeople in the office who are decent, but to put in that real good effort, and you know, I believe in my company, like I know what we're doing. I monitor like a 90% show up ratio in work, like, whereas other agencies could be 60%. So I'm very confident when I speak to them what I can do, and I know, you know what I mean? So if I can call people up or network and chat to them, and then I'll say to chat to Mihai or chat to Alex or chat to Nelly or, you know, one of the girls, you know, then I'll put them on then and build them in like that. But I think you do have to be involved when you're trying to take in new business, whether it be like, you know, Richard Branson, he does his own marketing, you know, he went to America, he was hanging off a crane, he goes to Sydney, he was hanging around in a helicopter. When you're starting up in a new place, you need to be the face of it, like. That's what I believe anyways.
You said that you believe in your company. Like, tell me, like, what is the belief in the company?
Well, I just believe that.
What's the name of the
Linkforce Recruitment?
Linkforce, yeah.
Yeah, so like
you also have UK
affordable properties. Yeah. So Justin mainly deals with the property side of things, and I mainly deal with the recruitment. But we're 50-50 and all the businesses, and those are the main ones. And
the belief then?
Yeah, just the belief. So I know if I drove to a site in London and they told me that they were struggling for shuttering carpenters, I know that we can get them the people that they want. So I'll say to them, like, we can get these people for you, and I'll believe it, and they'll say, we heard it all before, and I will say, no, I know we can get these people, like, call this person, not this company. He'll know that company. I'll say, call him and just ask about us. Or I will just ring the office and say, send me a couple of cards who we have available, and it's organised, and they will send me who he has, where he's from, the distance from, we're very well organised, the distance, the cards, everything, like, and I'll just show him, you know what I mean, or I'll speak to him on the phone, or I'll just tell him what harm is one try,
What is the most enjoyable part about now that you have your freedom? Something that you talked about for
freedom
years.
And fitness and family, I'd say, like, would be definitely the most important to me. You know what I mean? I love the fact of definitely those are the three things that just really I wanted. Those are the main things. Even now I'm working on financial goals as well, which would be like cash flow from properties to always cover my spending. So whatever I spend during the week, as long as my cash flow, I'm always looking for safety barriers. That's what I'm always looking to set up. The more and more safety barriers you have set up, the more comfortable you are, and then you're more relaxed. And when you're more relaxed, you take in more business.
Yeah.
Do you never find that?
And what do safety barriers look like?
Safety barriers is just a passive income that you don't need to be involved with,
Yeah.
Not so much involved with,
Yeah, like having the money to do the work.
Yeah, just basically, for me, it's basically whatever amount of money it takes me during the week, to pay my bills, pay my mortgage, live the life I want. So that money that's coming in, which is solid proof, so that money be coming in from rent on properties, or it could be coming in. I don't think Linkforce Recruitment is that sort of business. So it's not. It makes decent money. So it does. But it's one of those businesses. You couldn't really. There's a lot of effort put into it as well. The business needs to be running. But once you have a few, like, we ventured to Australia as well, so I'm trying to, like, if I could venture here and venture there, then if all these businesses is making X amount of money, those are more safety barriers, because if one's not going so good, this country's going so good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so you're gone international.
Yeah, gone internet. Well, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. It is international.
Yeah.
You're in Oz.
Yeah.
How's that been?
Good, yeah, good. Enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it.
Back in Oz.
Hey, back in Oz, yeah. I'm getting up early, doing the phone calls. I'm very hands-on, to be honest, with that myself. So I have me and Francesca and Sam, who's kind of working on that. I'm doing a lot of the calls, though, to be honest, early mornings. So I'm getting up at like 4 a.m. and calling the companies and sending people across certain visas and stuff. But definitely enjoying it. Definitely like it.
Yeah.
Because everybody I speak to, they're like, where are you? And I have Australian number, and I'm pretending I'm in Australia sometimes. But I'm not. And people's telling me, oh, you need to have somebody on the ground. And I says, I don't have anybody on the ground, and I'm doing it from here. I'm doing it from this office.
Yeah. So it just goes to show you can be anywhere in the world.
Yes.
If you really want to do something,
Yeah.
And it's working for you.
So far.
Very good. Very good. How long are you operating in Australia?
Oh, I think it's 4 months now. 4 months now.
How has it been starting a recruitment company, not being there and already having the experience though?
Yeah, having the experience is a massive help. So it was. So, like, I just took the same systems. Our systems was based on going international. So about a year and a half ago, we based our systems with the idea of going international, and Australia was the first market. I lived in Australia, as I mentioned before. I have friends, I have lots of people over there. I kind of know it, so I says I can hit this market, and I'll hit the whole market. So we're dealing with people in New South Wales, Queensland, WA, different parts of it as well.
Very good.
Yeah, so look, it's not straightforward, but the people we're dealing with are very friendly. A lot of them's Irish-owned companies, owners. And once you come from the background of construction, it all helps, and once you have evidence to back up your claims, that even goes further.
Yeah. That's amazing, Darren. It
Thanks,
really, really is good for you.
Thanks.
And have you any further expansion plans after that, or?
Yeah, well, yeah, we are lucky, and thinking about America maybe next year. We don't have exact timeline. We always says we would do Australia, roll it out for the year to see what the progress we made, and if the progress was good and I didn't need to be on the front face, then maybe move. I want to target Miami and Texas, the south of America. Those are the kind of states that I like. I like warm climates. I think there's more work constantly going. I don't know, I just have this belief, and I just like the heat.
So is that you saying that you would like to get back to the heat?
Yeah.
Yes. Where does that look like?
Don't know. I would think about maybe in Australia and when the time's right, But obviously everything needs to be solid for you to put yourself completely away. You need to have solid. So trial and error, testing things out. And
it sounds like you're on that path, you know.
Yeah, a bit of progress. I'd say we're making progress, but I don't let myself feel comfortable though. I don't let myself feel comfortable.
Why?
Because obviously what your man mentioned last week too, the fear. So the fear of anything like that happening again, it's always in the back of your mind,
Yeah.
you know. And you can lose a lot of money very quick. You know, like I had a guy call me there 2 weeks ago. He told me he was going bankrupt. He owed me 60,000. And then I think the same week I had another guy going bankrupt. He owed me 20,000. So I just says, what the fuck are we going to do? Like, this is a big loss, massive loss. Like, and we figured out a way, you know, I don't want to get into details, but we figured out a way to make it work. Like, so you do learn, and you have insurances, you have different sorts of things in place, you know.
Yeah. There's always a way.
There's always a way, yeah, because it used to be the old me, we JD would have went crazy and smashed the phone and told them I'm going to kill them, you know. Now I just think, how can we get this, you know, there's a way, there's always a way, like you say.
Yeah. It's funny that you say you don't like being comfortable. I can kind of resonate with that too. You know, when we get into a comfort zone, I think that's when we're not at our full potential, but we're more at. I feel like when I'm in a comfortable space that I actually am worse off. Like I feel like I go back and I'm like, Jesus, you know. So it's like it's a hard line to walk. You know, it's just like
it's nice. It is nice at the same time, because there's days like I'll see myself and say, oh geez, I'll go to the spa this morning, you know, and I'll be in the spa then, and it'll be coming 8 o'clock, and I'll say, oh fuck, I need to get out of here. I can't settle, you know. I'll be in there 5 minutes, and I just pack the bags, get the shower, and way up the road then.
Back to work,
yeah, just making sure. Like, I just feel like, oh Jesus, what am I doing here? Like, I can't be this person, you know.
And then how do you balance yourself?
I don't know, like even to ask my wife, Bruna, like sometimes I work quite hard. Like I could really pull in big shifts from 4 a.m. to maybe 9 o'clock at night. But throughout the day, I'll go to the gym. Fitness is massive for me, so I just get straight into the gym, train it, burn off stress, you know what I mean? I'll just listen to a bit of music. Maybe I'll cycle as well, and then that'll free. All I need
when
is
you used to cycle, like out on a bike.
Yeah.
Oh, good
yeah.
man.
So I'll do stuff like that, fresh air, that sort of stuff, and then all I need is a half an hour. Sometimes just get out, walk about. But then what I'll say to her is, two people need to be on the same page. Like, if we're not on the same page and I want to do this and I'm thinking this and she's thinking that, it's not going to work, you know. So me and Bruno, our goals will be aligned, you know, this is what we're working towards. So she'll understand, and then I'll say, right, let's go on a good holiday now, like, and just have a blowout, and then I'll do a reset for me, you know, and then I'll go back at it then.
Good. So you mentioned fitness and you mentioned family too.
Yeah, it's important, very important though. I just trying to make the life now. If I put in the effort now when I'm young, I just think if I'm older, then at least I can be comfortable. If my kids need something, or if I have grandchildren, and if they need something, I don't have to worry and think, oh, where's the income going to come from? I have these things in place where the income's there, and if I want to just go away, or if I want to go on a holiday, I just go on it, like, without worrying. That's just kind of what I'm working towards, you know.
Yes. With the balance, and you talk about the fitness, why is it so important in terms of stress? Like, do you have a routine that? So whenever I was in business, I always when I got stressed, I used to go to the cinema. You know, it was just like a disconnect. I couldn't deal with what was going on, and I just had to numb myself, you know. But like, when you have them moments now, like, how do you deal with them?
Yeah, that's the gym for me.
Yeah.
It's even sometimes my wife will say to me, get out and go to the gym. Like, honestly, she'll say that. Like, I will be that stressed and worked up about something, do you know what I mean? And once I go in there, I don't know what it is. I just blowing off just steam, you know what I mean? You're just blowing it off, and just any bit of anger or any stress you have, you're just putting it into the weights, you know what I mean? And then you get to the stage then where you're just fucked. Time to get out of there. Yeah.
Because
feel good too. I think if you're kind of like, if you feel like you're looking all right, you know what I mean, and you feel healthy, then it has effect on my business for me, you know what I mean? That's just different. Everybody's different.
No, I hear you, and I actually think that having a fitness routine or whatever it is, doing something, it can just be as simple as walking. I feel like that should be your number one priority, like looking after yourself. Yeah. And then everything else will look after itself. Like. Yeah,
well, I think that too. I kind of believe in that. Like, I definitely, if I if I didn't get to like the gym for maybe a week or something like that, I would be pissed off and I couldn't do work. I'd be answering the phone wrong. Do you know what I mean? I'd be kind of snapping at people. I honestly think I'm addicted though. Like even I don't even do like good. 10 minutes. You know, I just need something. If it's a cycle or something, you know. Yeah. But like other than that, I just think I would just go drinking, and I just want to try to avoid that. You know.
Yeah. So like, how important is it for you to have goals?
Oh, very important. Very, very important. It's like one of the big things I learned in life is to make progress, you just need to have goals. So we set them every year and we review them every 6 months, and we'll say, where are we at? Right, well, this is definitely not going to happen. But I think having goals, I like having big goals for sure. Have the big ones at that 10-year plan, you know what I mean? Put them 10-year and then come down to 5. But within the year, there's only so much you can really do. You know, people want to make it in 1 year. And I think just get that out of your head. Put something that's just a bit of a stretch for you, you know, because some people like to achieve. That's my belief. I know everybody does them different, but I think something that you can just about grab, you have to put that effort in, you know, and once you achieve it, you feel really good. We do it in work. Like this year now, if we hit our targets, I'm taking everybody to Egypt at the end of the year. So like every quarter we set, like we're going to go here, we're going to do there. And I break it all down on our targets, revenue, placements, all that. And then maybe after the first quarter, I think we hit it. We took everybody out to London. We had a great night out. Second quarter, we did hit it, but there's so many people off. We're planning to do it when we go back. And then the third quarter, if we hit it, we're going to do something again. We all agree on it together. And then the yearly one then was everybody goes to Egypt if we hit all 4. So we're kind of on track. Everybody's excited and hyped up. You know what I mean?
That's good. That's good. Yeah. How important is that for your team?
Great, yeah, it's great. Like it just helps. Everybody can even works better together because it's not. We do have individual goals as well, and they get commission based on that. But as company goals, everybody will be helping. They'll say like, oh, we only got X amount of placements this day or that week. Look, we need to get fucking 10 more. You know, let's get it. And everybody's ringing and on the phone. Other than that, they just we're getting paid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going for a smoke.
yeah. It's like. You're really bringing a team spirit, you know. Like the money is one thing, but it's like giving something to work towards as a team. Like
exactly,
it's more invigorating.
It definitely is. Everybody's happy. Well, I think in general, most people seems happy in there, anyways. And just having monthly meetings with everybody in the office as well, I think helps. You know, just giving them that time one-on-one with you, even if it's only 10 minutes, just to hear any concerns and how you can make the business better. Always listen, I think, to your employees as well.
Yes. And then, like, say if you don't achieve a goal, how do you respond from that?
Not too. I'm pretty okay with it. Like, it would kind of annoy me, so it would. But I would just say, right, we didn't. Why did we not achieve it? Is kind of the main thing we'd be asking. Mm-hmm. So if it was so many new clients, I would look back at the numbers and say we didn't achieve this because we didn't do enough calls that day or these days. So I'm trying to find out what's wrong with the goal. You know, that's where we break it all down, and then once we figure that out, then we set them again. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we don't have like one goal. It's maybe like 10 goals in a certain section. 10, you know, even the property, everything's a goal for us. Life, everything. Like.
No, it's good to hear that, Darren. I think it's so important to have a goal, to have something to pull you forward as opposed to just doing something for nothing.
It's like flying a plane. You know what I mean? With no compass, you're just going. You don't know what direction you're going.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Good. So, like, you know, if you were to speak to Darren, who was, say, 18 years old, you know, starting out, moving to Boston, what would you say to him?
Well, one of the things that I always notice, Ryan, is that anytime you ask somebody about how they're getting on and what their plans is and what they're going to do, but what they always say is they don't have time. So whenever you dig into people that doesn't have time, what I find most of the majority of the time is they're watching at least an hour of TV every day. Like that is a massive one for me, massive. So there's 2 big ones. First one is cut your TV completely out. Honestly, I just don't watch TV. I don't watch it. If I'm watching it, I can't sit still and I go and do something. I say I'm wasting time here unless it's something educational. But cut the TV out and put that hour into your business or what you're going to do. That's going to help you massively straight away. So that's an extra minimum 7 hours a week if you can do that. Mm-hmm. The next thing then to double that is get out of bed an hour early. I guarantee you that most people is probably sleeping more than 6 hours. I know 6 hours doesn't seem like a lot, but you can work off 6 hours. And if you're doing 10 hours, you could get out of bed 2 hours earlier. You know, then you're adding 3 extra days to your, hours to your day. I think those are 2 massive ones. Like, because that was one of the things Grant Cardone says, what do you about TV and stuff? And I was like, fuck, worried about me watching TV. That's my own time. But he was right. Like, so then I cut that out, and then he was on about what time do you get out of bed? And I says, I get up at whatever, it's time to get up for work. And he says, you need to be getting up an hour earlier. He says, you need to be an hour ahead. He says, that's an extra 14 hours a week. He says, you can do a lot of stuff in 14 hours. And then I just thought, you know what, maybe. So then I started, and then Australia all tied in. I says, I can do this. I can get up early. I'm sleep training. You don't just set yourself 2 hours early. You break it in, 15 minutes a day or every couple of days. You know what I mean? Break it up like that. But that will definitely help you. And just be consistent. Keep working hard. And I think that's it. People think too much about what it is they're doing. Just if you work hard at it, I reckon that you can definitely do it,
Well, the chances are, if you put more time into whatever it is you want to do, that you're going to achieve it,
Exactly right.
And I agree with you on the time thing. So many of us say we don't have time, but we always have time. Well, it's just prioritizing our time. Exactly. And you talk about TV, like if someone's just to go check their screen time on their phone, social media, like you are dead right. And, I always do, have conversations with people, and then it's like too much time. And there's a part of me that's like, what? I want to say to them, but then I'm just like, what?
I know.
If that's how they feel about it, then that's for them to,
that's right. It's just for people that wants to know, you know what I mean? I am the same as you. I don't tell people that, but if they would want to know, then that would definitely be something I would let them know.
Yeah. So tell me then, after this conversation, I'd like to know what a typical day looks like for Darren Long.
It changes at the minute, because I'm doing Australia. It's get up at 4 o'clock. Get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Get up. I do like gratitude. Do my gratitude.
What does gratitude look like?
It's a lot. I have it in a book. It takes me about 15 minutes, and I just make a list of certain things that I'm thankful for, certain things that I want. Do you know what I mean? No matter what kind of bad day you're having, just be thankful. There are definitely people worse off. So definitely get your thankfulness in. Even if you've lost maybe 12, 20 workers the day before, just be thankful you have what you have. And that's it. Start it off with gratitude. Have something to eat, because I need something to eat straight away, and a coffee. Then I just get on the phone, start calling people in. I usually start off with a call to a person that I know, in Australia, somebody to get the chat going first, so I'm not too groggy, and I'll chat to somebody we're already doing business with. Then I'll just jump straight into sales calls. Then I'll do a few calls. I'll work on Australia to maybe 9, because I go through the time zones. I go from Sydney, and then it's getting late for them. Then I go to Perth, you know what I mean? So I work my way that way. And then maybe 9, 10 o'clock, then I'll have a bit of a break. Then I'll start just chatting to the UK team, see how they're doing, and just kind of sit in the background and seeing what we can do and how we can grow the business and you know what I mean? And then I'll probably go to the gym then around 4 o'clock, go to the gym, spend an hour there, and then I'll come home then just to the family, and I'll have the evening then with them. So I will. And
then what time's bed?
Time for bed is probably around 9 o'clock. Yeah, early enough. 9, 10 o'clock, just depends. Yeah.
Good stuff. And you're able to fly through a week like that once you're in structured and routine.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
What about the weekend?
Then I do like a drink on a Saturday. So usually I do weekly goals as well. So I'll say, if I do this and this, I'm going to do like a double session, like a spa, and I'm going to go to the gym, and then I'm going to have a few drinks or something. So if I achieve that, I go out, and if I don't, sometimes I don't. I set things like that as well. Are you worth getting out on the beer, or you need to work for it?
Very good, very good. So sounds like you're very organized and structured and goal orientated.
Yeah, very goal orientated now, anyways.
And it's serving you well.
Yeah, working good so far, anyways.
Good stuff. So if there's anyone out there that would like to have a conversation with you, are you approachable in that sense?
Definitely approachable, 100%. Yeah. Look, I always tell, I do get a lot of missed calls. I don't answer my phone a lot, and that's just because there's so many different people calling me, which they don't need to be dealing with me directly. They need to be dealing with other people. Yeah. So what I always tell somebody is just message me or WhatsApp message me of who you are and what you want to speak about, and then I'll know who it is, and I'll be able to call back.
Are they get you on Instagram or
Instagram? Yeah, you can get me on Instagram or LinkedIn, anything like that.
Yeah. Darren, it's been a very inspiring conversation. It really has, because I know you so long, but we never sit down. Not just me and you, but in life in general, it's very rare that we sit down and we have good conversations where we get to know each other, and it's been great. I feel like I know you in a way that I haven't known you before, you know what I mean?
No problem at all, Ryan. Happy to come here.
Yeah, no, it's been very interesting to hear your journey from, you know, where you got inspired to where it brought you through the darkness, you know, how you didn't let that define you, and you know how it's made you so much stronger and capable today.
No, it definitely the journey is the important bit, and to try to enjoy it no matter how bad things is going. Just you'll always come out of it.
Yeah, and if there was someone there, like, you know, who's going through that kind of experience at the minute where maybe business isn't good, or they're just in a really dark place where things haven't turned out the way they wanted them, what would your advice be to them?
Just look around you and see what you should be thankful for. You know what I mean? There's always something you should be thankful for. Sometimes we look at business and we say, oh, my business has failed, or this, why does this person have this, or why does that person have that? But he could be turning around looking at you and saying, I wish I had his youth, or I wish I had his looks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We always want something different, so definitely be thankful for what you have.
I agree with that. You know, Darren, it's been a pleasure. I want to thank you. I'm so grateful for the conversation that we've had. Really grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you also, Ryan. It was great to have me as well, so happy to share that story.
No, that's good. And I'm sure we'll be talking again.
Definitely. Thank you, Ryan.
Good man, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Well, I really hope you enjoyed that, because I did, you know, and even just having that conversation with Darren, you know, I never get enough inspiration, you know, and it's through every single conversation that I'm inspired by somebody, and it doesn't have to be business, but, you know, it's really good to hear him and hear about his journey, because I've never sat down and had the conversation with him, and I've never felt so present with him before, so I'm very grateful for that experience, and I hope there's a few lessons for anyone who's listening in whatever aspect of life. It doesn't have to be business, you know. Through his darkness, you know, he was still able to prevail and shine through, you know. So, I want to thank you again for listening to the Infinite Creators podcast, and I ask you to remember that you are the Infinite Creator.